Sorry. All right. Okay. So welcome to our team call Sunday night, and it's the 15th. Yes, that's right. And we're going to go over rejection, no's, and how to turn no's into yeses. If anybody has anything to say, we like to keep it open and close, so just unmute yourself and let us know if you have questions or comments. Hi, Jen. So we try to keep our team calls really friendly and fun, and everybody can talk. I get weird when I have to sit here and talk the whole time, so I really like it when you guys are engaged and talk with me. And Jess is helping me out tonight, and we're gonna get this thing going. Does anybody have any recognition before we start?
No. You told me what yours was, so I'm gonna let you.
Oh no, you can do it if you want to.
No, it's okay because I totally agree with it.
Okay. I wanted to shout. Well, by the way, go ahead and feel free to comment in the chat box. I can't promise I'll see it. But okay, so I'll just go ahead and go now, and if anybody has anybody to shout out, then they can after me. I wanted to say to Jennifer that I'm super proud of you for recognizing all of your challengers and your coaches. Like, it makes me feel so good to see you showing them love in the groups and showing up on all their posts and stuff. That's what this is all about, and I love seeing that. So thank you for doing that. And
thanks for mentioning it. I feel like I hadn't been doing that, and like they're doing such a good job. So
I think it's just one of those things that like we all kind of like know we need to do, and then the day goes by and it gets busy and stuff. But yeah, I still have some stuff I need to shout out too, and I totally understand where you're coming from, but you're doing a great job, and I love seeing it.
That's really sweet.
And then Chelsea's not on here. She told me that she was going to be a little bit busy, so I am going to shout her out anyways because I'm recording. She'll be Diamond on Thursday. So, and then with her, she got Diamond in 3 months. And so we're going to have her come on and tell us how she did it and give us some of her tips. I don't know if it'll be in a team call setting or if it'll be a live video in the team page yet, but I was going to spring that on her tonight. So wish me luck. But yes, she's been awesome. She sets intention. And from day one, every time she sets a goal during a one-on-one, she like blows it away. So it's really cool to watch. So she's going to have some good tips for us, I think. Also, I have to shout everyone out because I've been watching you guys grow, whether it's with your social media or reaching out or inviting, and it's just so cool to see that and just watch you guys, like your posts get deeper and everything just is so beautiful, and I'm so amazed by you. Jess has been doing a really good job diving deep lately, and I love seeing it. And that's all I have for recognition today, but if you guys have anything, say something now or forever hold your peace. Is that the same? Yeah. I'm just kidding. You can always recognize people on the team page. All right, cool. Well, then we will get started. I have a couple of announcements. Does everybody here send a PD book to your new challengers and coaches? Gosh, by way of hands. No. So I always have. And I have been kind of looking at it from all different angles lately, and I'm thinking that I don't know, I was wanting your guys' input and thoughts on this. I was thinking about making it like a, after you finish your first program or whatever, yeah, let me know, and like I have a prize or incentive. I don't know how I would say it, but I was trying to figure out the wording earlier because I feel like that would encourage them to reach out to us and let us know that they completed a program and how they feel and how they're feeling, because it's not like we're going to be like, okay, well, you have to have lost this much weight to get the present or whatever, the prize. I don't know. It was just one way to get like those people who aren't communicating after so long to try to maybe get them to talk to us again. I don't know. I was wondering what your guys' thoughts were, because it sucks when you send them books and try to love on them and then they just kind of ghost out and disappear. And I was hoping it would make those people stick around a little bit longer. I don't know.
My thoughts, I guess, like, I think we kind of talked a little bit earlier, but if I have someone who's like ready to coach and wants to hit the ground running and like whatever, then give them all the love from the beginning and get them set up. And but maybe like we check in with them. So like after you finish your first challenge, you check in with them, like how did it go, what's going on, and then once they respond and you know that they're going to continue with everything, then you're like, hey, I want to keep you going. I want to dive even deeper. I'm going to send you something, a little something, and you know, instead of like, hey, make sure you check in with us and then we'll give you a prize. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going to send you something because I'm proud of you for showing up. You know, what are your next goals, and I want to dive a little deeper. So I'm going to send you something that really helped me, you know, further my journey type of thing.
Totally. I like that wording so much better. I was trying to figure it out. I think that I said something along those lines in my notes.
No, you did. I'm just thinking instead of making them saying like, hey, check in with me, you know, instead of making them do it, because I don't know, people don't always, I'm thinking it's like we check in with them at the end of the challenge, like, hey, like, nice job during the challenge. I love when you were showing up. Like, what's your goals for the next challenge? Like that type of thing.
Oh, I like that. So kind of
check-in.
they have to be participating in a challenge group in order to reach out to them though. Is that correct? Or
I mean, or you say like, hey, where are you? Are you ready to go? Are we going to do this next one? Like,
okay. Yeah, I agree. Okay. I like that. I've just had so many people like,
look at the chat really quick.
Oh, thank you. So I always started with you are a badass, but it just depends on the person. And like, as I get to know people on a deeper level, I'm talking about your question, Audrey, sorry. She just asked how do you know what book to send them? Are you reading any personal development right now? Audrey, you can unmute yourself if you want. Here, I did it for you.
Oh, okay. No, I just read for other enjoyment. I don't have any personal development books yet.
Ooh, so you should either message me with some of your like struggles and stuff, and maybe I could make a recommendation, or You Are a Badass is always like a great book to begin with. And so maybe if you were to read it, then you would be able to help your coaches and challengers with finding a personal development book too. Because it's like it's like part of the missing link of this journey. Like we have to be doing the mind work too. So I would definitely think about getting started with something soon. And then you'll be able to recommend stuff to your people too. Does anybody else have anything to add to that?
I typically do You Are a Badass as well, but with some of my like older or like my like areas, very like North Shore mom, like those people, I typically send Girl Wash Your Face. Just people that may not be as open, I guess.
Right.
At first to You Are a Badass, or that just kind of turns them off from the beginning. They're just not like ready to dive in, that type of thing. I usually do Girl Wash Your Face to start for them.
I've been doing Girl Wash Your Face lately too, and I just check with them and make sure that they're not uncomfortable with their religion stuff. But
sometimes I like mention that. I mean, Jen and I have talked about this because we both grew up in homes that were Jewish, and we're not insulted by it at all. So
yeah,
for my people that I know are overly religious one way or another, I do mention it, but usually people are okay with it.
Yeah, that's totally fine. Sorry, I was trying to adjust my lights. I have like this weird glare on me.
Do you just go and buy like a book and send it to people then, or?
Amazon Prime.
Yeah, Amazon Prime is the easiest route. Stumping.
But I don't buy it for everybody. Like, you have to buy a challenge pack. You have to have invested in yourself enough for me to invest in you.
Exactly. Same.
I only have one person in my team so far, and that's my sister. So
Yeah. So maybe if you get yourself a personal development book, you could kind of like decide whether or not it would be a good fit for her too. It's always really good to encourage personal development to family. So
yeah.
definitely think about it, and then let us know if you have any specific questions about books and authors and whatnot.
And I like to read it, but sometimes I don't have the time. So I've been like listening to them in the car. I have Audible, so I have like a bunch of books on there. And even if it's like a 10-minute car ride,
Mhm.
I'll just listen, and it makes such a big impact. So
Totally.
another way to do it, like, yeah.
I'm a shower listener.
Yeah. I like that. PD's big. Okay, so moving on. If you have any more questions about it, though, feel free to reach out to any of us. We're happy to help. Okay, so this is funny because I've seen a lot of people having a hard time with this, and I struggle with it so hard. So I think that it's part of the problem is I'm not like transferring what I'm learning to you guys well enough either. So with adding people to your social media, I don't have a million tips, but I do have a couple. And so I want to tell you just kind of what I did, and I'm going to just do it really quickly because we have the real call we want to jump into. So I'll just say like step 1, step 2. For when I first started adding people to kind of get over the fear, I went through Anthony's friends list and all of the women that he went to like school with and people he knew before me. I just kind of like looked through them and asked him questions. Like if someone looked like someone I could be friends with in real life, I would ask him questions about them. And I ended up adding a lot of people because Anthony was pretty popular in school, I guess. I don't know, but he had a lot of friends. And so, and he got along with everybody. And so it was really cool because he was like, oh, that girl's really cool. And then when I connected with them, it was really easy to talk to them because Anthony was well liked, I guess, if that makes sense. But that's not the only way. That's just where I started because I was very uncomfortable adding people I didn't know at first. Like my social media was on lockdown. I didn't add anybody unless I was like personally friends with them, like hung out with them and stuff before I started coaching. And so there's other ways too. I also, after that, I joined groups of people like me or like local groups. And it was easy to connect with those people because I'm always like, oh, hey, I'm looking for more real life friends, like people like me that I can get along with. And so the groups like around you, you just kind of want to think about like, okay, are you a toddler mom or whatever? Like, I feel like there's all kinds of ways that we could go into this, and we will another time, but groups are good. And then have you ever noticed how you get like added to all those random makeup groups and clothing groups? And it used to like annoy me really bad. And then I realized that I can go in there and half the work's done for me because we're connected by whoever added us. Does that make sense? And so then you just find people who look like someone you could be friends with, and you go to their page, you find something you have in common, and it's super easy to connect that way too. Most of the time I'm like, oh my gosh, your picture with your little girl is so cute. I have a little one too. And then it's easier once you start doing it, and you'll get what I'm saying. And then this one's a little trickier, and I had planned on like making a visual aid to help with this, but I never got the chance. So I go to like brands I like. So if we want to use like the example, Lulu's, it's the like clothing dress brand or whatever. And there's however many hundreds of thousands of likes or whatever on that page. But if I see something really cute when I'm scrolling it that I would totally wear, or I would try to wear, I go through the other people who liked and commented on it, and I find people like me that way too. So hope those tips help. Like I said, there's probably a million different ones that I could go through, but that's not today's call. Just for the people who are struggling with it right now. Okay, so Jess and I are going to dive in here. We're back to our regular weekly team calls. So we'll be here every week. And I have all the leaders are excited because we're all going to work together and come up with stuff for you guys with all of our strengths, which is good because they pick up where I lack and we can all bounce off of each other, and it'll be really awesome for you guys. So I can't wait for that. And then, all right, so we're going to jump right into rejection. And you're going to have to let me take a drink, or Jess is going to have to talk for a minute.
I'll let you start, and I'll hop in when I'm needed.
All right. So there's a bunch of different types of rejection. We're going to go over the straight up no, ghosting, I can't afford it, or I didn't know this would cost me money, because that happens a lot too, or I don't have time. I know Jess is going to take a bunch of these, but we've all been in these situations. The thing is, most of the time, no is just not right now. And so it's not necessarily that they don't want to do it. It's just there's something deeper behind it. It's not like, oh, I'm not interested. They're most likely interested, especially if they reached out to you or if they liked and commented on your stuff. So they are probably interested, but you need to figure out what the deeper problem is.
Yeah, unless you get a very stern, like, with a whole spiel attached to it, like, I'm not interested, no thank you, I'm like, that's not, that type of thing. There's certain times that people can word things in a way that make me know that they're not, like, they don't want me to follow up with them.
Yeah, shut down.
Like, it's not, rarely do I get that one, but there's certain people that I'm like, just.
Yes, I agree, 100%. Totally. But I think for the ones that, like, if they reach out to you, or if they're somebody you've reached out to because they liked or commented on your stuff, then you probably at that point hopefully know why they're saying no. So before they even have a chance to say no to the opportunity, you shouldn't be asking them about the opportunity if you don't know why they reached out to you in the first place or why you're reaching out to them. So that includes asking questions like, what does your nutrition and fitness look like right now? Are you currently doing anything for your health, or whatever your questions are, which if you need a list of those, we will get that to you. But talking to them and getting to know what the deeper stuff is will help you to kind of determine whether that no is a no, or just a not right now and check back later.
What did you say, Jen?
Oh, sorry. Do you guys ever do like the surveys, like a Wufoo or the Google Forms and stuff? Because I've been watching like a bunch of other coaches like Melanie Mitro and stuff. Like, she's all about like the surveys and like, sending them out like right away. Like, what's your email? Can you fill out this? Mm-hmm. Do you do that? Or do you kind of do more back and forth in the messenger kind of thing?
I've done both. I just had a hard time with people actually filling out the surveys. So I do still use a link in my posts most of the time. I think there was some issues with Facebook and Instagram the other day, though. So links were being weird, so I haven't used it lately. But I like to monitor like how many clicks it gets and stuff, but compared to like how many messages I get. But with my forms, like, it didn't seem like people were filling them out. So one of my goals is to like revamp them and make them more fun, and hopefully people will actually fill them out. But otherwise, like, I don't know. I see where it could be really beneficial. So I'm not saying don't do it. I just think I need to revamp mine because I haven't done them in a while. I had like 2 people out of the year I had forms in place, like 2 people actually filled it out. Do you know how many people clicked on it? So many, but they didn't want to take the time to fill it out, and I found that they were just messaging me. So I don't know. I kind of took out the middleman because I don't mind the human connection anyways, and like that's part of getting to know them.
I think with Melanie Mitro, we got to take it with a grain of salt because she's got a lot more people coming at her than we do, and doesn't necessarily have time for the personal connection, and is willing to lose some people in the meantime because she has enough coming at her. But also she made it seem like she like makes sure it's like when they say, yes, I want more information, then she says, you know, so I can get you the best information, can you please fill out my form? So I don't think, you know what I mean? She still makes some sort of connection first to make sure that they're even interested.
I like that.
So I think what we're missing is the part before that of how she made the original connection with that person to then say, oh, are you interested in this challenge? Or it's because she's got 60,000 followers on Instagram and automatically she's like, oh, you came to me, and you know what I mean? So we got to play the game a little different. But I do want to update my form. I don't want to I don't want to have Beachbody on the form. I want to upgrade it. And I want a Google form because when I had WooFoo, it didn't like notify me when people filled it out.
I don't get notified either.
So I think I'm gonna upgrade to Google Forms. Although another one was mentioned. I think she mentioned Melanie this morning when we were watching that one this morning. She mentioned a different one. So I want to look into that one too. But I'm gonna upgrade my form and use it more when people are like, definitely, you know, like showing a lot of interest. And I'm like, okay, I want to find the best program for you. Do you mind filling this form out really quick?
I like that. So it would be more geared toward like finding which program, which nutrition plan and stuff works for them versus like joining you.
Which is the same thing as asking them, but I guess maybe it cuts out having to ask 7 questions. No, I'm not saying anything you're wrong, but like now we don't have to ask 10 questions.
No, I like that.
Fill out the form and then we can say based on your.
Right.
Yeah, I love that. Will you, when you do that, if you get a chance to dive into it before I do, will you post in the team page with it and what you did and how you did it and stuff?
Okay. Yeah, Jen, you just did yours too, didn't you? Or no, you were working on it, right?
I think
I really want to revamp all of mine, but I like the idea of the Google versus WooFoo if it notifies you. So, okay. So, anyways, sorry. Where were we? Okay. Ghosting, right? Yes.
We just starting from the beginning.
Okay. We're starting over. We got sidetracked. So the types of no's were, we said that we talked about the straight up no, like mark them off the list. Like we don't want to, if they come back, they come back. And I will add that I have had people who like straight hated on me, like made me feel super uncomfortable, like should I delete this person, like that kind of uncomfortable, like come to me and ask me for my help later. So never cross anybody off completely, just maybe like don't worry about following up because they'll come to you when they're ready. They just have to watch you. And I think that's like part of the big thing in this business is people get discouraged because they don't realize that sometimes it just takes time for people to see what you're doing and that you're not going anywhere because there's like 400,000 Beachbody coaches or something like that. And so I'm sure that plenty of people go through their feed, and even though you've caught their eye, like they need to see something that's relatable to them and a reason for them to do it too. That makes sense. You want to tell us about ghosts, Jess?
Sure. We all get them. They're really exciting, and I love coming up with the perfect meme to send them of like, hey, where are you? Where'd you go? It used to bug me, and now I just basically pretend like they're not ghosting me, and I just follow up when I do my follow-up. So like if we got something new, a new challenge coming up, or we're doing this like I'm participating in Dream Corp 7 Days to Slay, like with that little team of girls that's doing the trial challenge. Like anything new that I can invite to, I still follow up with them and send it to them. And I'm like, whatever. Especially if they filled out, like I've had people who like I've sent the share cart to ghost me. And I'm like, dude, we talked for days. Like you want this. You've made it very clear you want this. We've determined what program you want. And now you're just gone. So those people, especially because I know I didn't ghost you, but I know what I did. And I know the excuses that went through my head. So I'm like, you know what? It just takes consistency. It takes keeping showing up and just reminding them that I'm there. So with ghosting, it used to bug me a lot. And now I just keep following up. I'm like, whatever. One of these days you'll pay attention. And then sometimes, just reminded me, I will ask, like if something else happened in their feed that leads to a conversation outside of Beachbody, I'll just be like, hey, so saw you were so wherever, like, and then they like, or ask them a question that kind of forces them to respond to me about a personal thing. Cause then they're like, and I'm like, oh, by the way, now that you're here and you didn't disappear, let's talk.
Yes. I love that. Okay. So the only thing, because she like nailed it, the only thing I have to add to that is when you're talking to Ghoster, I'm going to call him Ghoster, or Susan. It's Susan. Okay. So Susan came to you, saw your post, and really, really wanted to join you, and got all the details, got all the pricing information, asked all the questions, you sent the cart, you guys are ready to rock and roll. Susan opens her cart but never fills it out and won't respond to any of your messages. And I'm only using Susan as an example. I don't really know any Susans, but I'm using Susan as an example because this happens all the time. So this is our well Susan, okay? So we don't know what happened in her life. We don't know why. I mean, for me, for a long time, it was Anthony was like, that's bullshit. Like that's not real, and I'm not paying for it. So I had to like go make some money on my own and pay for it. So I never actually had Candace send me anything beforehand, because like when I was ready, I was like, okay, I'm ready, send it to me now, that type of thing. But it happens all the time. So there's a million different reasons. You know, their dog could have got sick and went to the vet. You don't know, and for some reason there's societal like beliefs that it's shameful to like admit that you're struggling, right? That's probably why they came to you in the first place, because we talk about that stuff. We talk about the struggles. So, but they aren't ready to, or they're not in the right place, or like I said, a million other reasons. We don't know. So you do know their pain points though, because you've talked to them, you had these conversations, you know what's going on, you know what their excuses are. You know where their struggles are for the most part. Like they should have told you probably when they reached out that you guys should have had this conversation. Like they don't want to go to the gym. It takes too long. They have too many kids and they can't find childcare, and then the kids get sick in the daycare, or they don't know how to feed themselves properly, or they don't know this, or they don't know that, right? So you know all these pain points. What I suggest to you is not go tomorrow, well, Susan, in your posts, but like literally in a couple of days or whenever, like talk about how you relate to those struggles, because they're watching you and they need to see some reason for them to finally press that submit button. Like there has to be something more to it. So you think about those pain points and you think about those struggles, and I'm not saying like exploit them. Like you just talk about where you relate and on that level. Like I wouldn't list off all the things you guys talked about, but if one of the things was the gym or the childcare or this or that or not having time, or you can talk about how you didn't feel like you had time, or you didn't think you could get to the gym and back, or you didn't get results, or whatever it is. Does that make sense? I feel like you guys are kind of looking at me like, what? No, we're good?
No, it makes sense, because if they're waiting for that sign, you're like, here's your sign.
Yes, exactly. Here's your sign. All right. And then how about, well, I think I kind of just went over I can't afford it too, because I talked about Anthony. Lots of people will say that they have this to take, this to pay for, this to pay for, this to pay for, but well, Jess, why don't you tell us how to get over the I can't afford it?
I wish I knew how, because
Really? Okay, so
no, I mean, I know what you're gonna say. I know that you're gonna tell them how you can budget for it and stuff, but there's people that they can't afford it right now.
right.
Sometimes I'm like, I give them other options. You know, that's where I'm like going at these people right now. The people that I'm following up with for this like trial challenge are all the people who said they can't afford it because this is $30. Like everyone's got $30. Like, let's go.
Well, and just the same, if you think about the value of our challenge pack, like everybody has 160, right? So in my mind, like I really couldn't afford it. Like we were negative in our bank accounts every freaking time we got paid. And so, not like in that mindset, like I could not afford it. For 2 years, I played like back and forth with Candace. And in my mind, like I tried to go to Costco and get all the protein powders and the fruits and the vegetables and make my own shakes or whatever. Like I tried to find workouts on YouTube, or like I tried to take that way out too. And then when I look back, I also drank. So alcohol is expensive. We ate out all the time, or we ate fast food all the time. Like you have to think about those things. Like Anthony and I were buying like energy drinks all the time. Like Beachbody saves us money. And we have energy and we feel better. So that's something you can talk about in your post, like how good you feel and how you're not eating at this place, or you're not buying alcohol, or you're not, you know what I mean? Like, or energy drinks.
It's funny you say that.
Adds up.
A lady that just told me no based off of money, it was like a day or two later, she was posting on her Facebook that they went out to dinner and ate, but she was posting pictures of their food, and it was like all this crap food and stuff. And then like the next day they were eating out again, and like every day it's posting stuff like that. And I'm sitting there like, 2 of those dinners probably could have paid for a whole year's worth of your subscription, you know? So like, that's a good idea, like mentioning that to them. Like if you stop eating out so much, there's your money right there.
Yeah.
You just gotta be careful, like being like, hey, saw you eating out.
No, I wouldn't say that. Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, don't exploit them, but talk about where you had the same struggle, and like, share how you overcame it, I guess. Also, like in your conversations, if you know that person is doing that, like even if it's in your follow-up that they say they can't afford it, just be like, oh my gosh, I totally understand. Like, I thought that I couldn't either. I would spend this amount of money going out. I would spend this amount of money at Starbucks.
Okay, yeah. So they don't feel like judged.
Right. You make it about you.
It's all about you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I don't mean that in like a rude way, but you don't say anything like, oh, well, I saw you doing this. Like, you don't exploit them. You just talk about your own experience, because I mean, whether your experience is small or little, like you did experience pretty much all of the things that they're feeling at some point, right? You told me, Crystal, that you thought you couldn't afford it. So
I did.
Before we even had a conversation, she goes, I know I can't afford it. Yep. And I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. And you got me by mostly just going over, especially how important it is health-wise, and you just have to make it a priority in that sense. Definitely like stuck in my head for sure. It's a small price to pay.
That's probably my biggest thing that I say to people. I'm like, yeah, like I know it was a lot and I debated it too, but I needed to make myself a priority, and that's that's a lot of times what my response is too. And then I also break down the prices. So I'm like, dude, it's like $8 a month. Like that's crazy, for the workout.
I've tried to stay away from I'll tell people individually it's cheaper than like gym membership, but I've been careful. I feel like I can't say that on my social media, because I actually, one of my close coworkers owns a CrossFit gym, and they use their social media to reel people in. So I would feel so bad going on there like, this is cheaper than that.
Well, you don't have to say it like that. You can say I paid
cheaper than like a gym membership.
Yeah. You just have to think about how you're wording it, but you don't have to not say anything at all. You could say I paid this much when I went to the gym, and then now I pay this much and I actually have the ability to do my workouts every day, and it works with my schedule or whatever. We could work on that.
Yeah, because some people like the gym thing, but most of the people I talk to, they don't have time to go there, and they have kids, and it's too much. Cool.
Krista convinced me to continue my shakes by telling me that I should just have 2 people a month do this with me. And I was like, oh, I can invite 2 friends a month and get my shakes paid for. That works.
Yeah. That's so funny. I don't remember that, but I believe you. I believe you.
I break it down like a cost per shake. It's like $2 or $3 per shake, and I was spending $4 or $5 for like a fancy salad, and I use my shake as like a lunch or dinner. So it was actually like saving me grocery money for sure, and on my multivitamins too.
Yes, so true. You can talk about that, Crystal.
Yeah.
I always like to see like when people like do comparisons, like I bought vitamins every now and then, but I didn't like buy a bunch of different ones or like, you know what I mean? But I always like to see like comparisons and then like what Shakeology gives you and like how good it feels and the price difference when you like add up all that stuff. Like
That's true.
so crazy. Okay, and then sometimes people are legit confused that the opportunity you're offering them is going to cost them some money. So I didn't know this was going to cost me any money. I reached out to you just because I wanted a therapist type thing. Jess, I know you nailed this one.
You can tell me, nailed it. I actually have never gotten that comment.
Really?
I know, yeah, like my coaches have, but I've actually never, and I think it's like the most, like, I don't, like, I love you all and you're all great, but you really think I do all this?
Yes.
Like, so luckily I have not actually received that comment, maybe off of like a garage sale type post of like a random comment, but, no, because thank God, because I'd probably like send them an emoji or a meme back of like, really? Are you serious?
That's so funny.
So you can go for that one because I actually have not.
So I got these a lot more in the beginning than now. Now that I talk about it being my job and stuff, I think that there's a lot less assuming that it's like, oh, come join my challenge for free. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's the case for sure, but I do know that it's changed a bit since I talk about it more as a job. And I think
and I post prices too sometimes where I'm like, it's only so much a month, or I'll say like, I'm going to run a 1 week free challenge. Yeah. So if I'm running a 1 week free one, then obviously my other ones aren't, you know?
Yes.
So maybe that's why.
Yeah, that probably does help a lot. So anyways, I guess the main thing about that is I just explain to people that if they really do not understand why this would cost them money, especially when you tell them everything they're getting and they really still expect it to be free. That one's always been fun for me. And so it's like, well, you know, like I have a job too, and you explain what you're doing and why you're doing it and your mission, because sometimes those people end up being coaches on your team because they wanted it, but they wanted it for a discounted price or for free. Like all they have to do is help a couple people and get it paid for, right? So think about that next time. Don't get discouraged by it. It happens a lot more than you think because we don't just post a product with a price, you know, and because that's obviously the less like schemy way to go. And we really like doing that and just sharing our experience and connecting with people that way. But you have to realize that there's some people who still think in black and white. Like, okay, well, you're selling me something. What is it? What's the price? Like, tell me right now. And so in their minds, because you're not saying anything, you're not doing those things, they think that you're maybe not so much of selling something and just like, hey, do this with me. Go ahead. Did you have something, Jess?
No, I was saying that was me. I was like, just tell me what's going on. Give me the price. Tell me how this works.
Yeah. And so it all comes with like
who use me as a free therapist, though.
It happens a lot.
That's common here. But I eventually convinced them to do the whole thing. Because at some point I'm like, all right, well, this has been fun. When are you going to join our group? You know, like it's just, it goes. But I have been a therapist this past year for sure.
Yes. And then Jess was I don't have time. So I think using her as an example is really good because now she's right here and she can tell us why she thought that.
Thought you were going to tell this story.
I know, but I've been telling all of them.
No, but that was my biggest excuse for sure, is that I don't have time. All of us don't have time.
Yeah.
That's like exactly who is on my team and who I connect with, is all the people who don't have time. And that's why this fits perfectly into my life, because I don't have freaking time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just, sometimes people need though to keep seeing you show up and keep seeing that you need to make yourself a priority and make that time. But I think that's like and I need to get back to it. And I always say this too. I'm like, I need to go back to why I joined, like what stories did I see you talking about, and why did I do this? And so I need to gear more of my posts on that. But that's that's who I'm pretty much attracting, is all the people like, hey, I don't have time to drive to a gym, park at a gym, go in a gym, go to the locker room, pick out a machine, walk on the machine, go do a couple crunches here, a couple push-ups there. I have no idea what I'm doing. Walk around for an hour, go back in the locker room, get my stuff, go to my car, drive home. Like, I don't have time for that. You know, this is 30 minutes. It's upstairs. I can do it in my pajamas. Like,
yes. Yeah.
Duh. But yes, I gave you all the excuses.
So funny, because Jess was my I don't have time, and I have a lot of people who say that, don't get me wrong, but it's funny with her, because when she first started talking to me about it, she was just sending me like what did you say? You were trying to fill my cup.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, fill your bucket. I was just giving you love. I'm like, you just seem so happy, and you've come so far, and I'm so happy for you. And
And I think I said something like, well, okay, when are you going to do this with me, or whatever. And then she joined one of my coaching groups, and then she would ask me questions here and there. And I think that it was, I don't know, I've always wondered, is it bad that I wasn't aggressive with you and been hey, fucking do this? No, excuse my language, sorry.
No, because I wouldn't have done it. It needed to be on my time.
Yeah.
And I needed to keep watching you. And there's certain, as you said, there were certain posts that pulled at me. I saw you at the park with your kids, on the playground with them and enjoying your time with them. While I was sitting at home, and the last thing I wanted to do was go to the park. Or when I'd go to the park, all I could think about was how there's not enough time, and I'm not enjoying it. I'm not smelling the roses, and I was having all this anxiety. And so it was watching your posts about exactly what I was struggling with, and your marital things and all that. And that's what finally was just the timing of school ending, and the timing of everything kind of breaking down in my life, and you specifically saying, hey, I went through that and I'm feeling better.
Mm-hmm.
That I needed. I needed to progress. Yeah. But you also kept following up. You didn't you weren't pushy, but you'd follow up,
Yeah. So this is a really awesome way to end. This is a great ending here. What I guess the whole point of rejection, no's, turning no's into yeses, all of this stuff is just realizing that those no's don't mean no, shut down always. Okay. Yes, we went over some of the circumstances where they are and they do mean that, but for the most part, it's usually a no, not right now, or they really just need to keep watching you. And you have to show up, and you have to show them why they need this, whether it's just your own story or thinking about the things that they had told you. I always write down a list of what people are saying, why they came to me, where this girl came to me because she was really interested in my meal replacement shakes. And I don't even talk about meal replacement shakes, but there's just these little details that you get from people along the way. And I have a list, this person came to me because of the sliding on the slide, right? So you talk about those things again, because that person's watching, and something is going to hit on some level, and you just share the ugly stuff enough to let them know that they aren't alone. And then magic happens, and it's not a no anymore, and all of a sudden it's a yes, let's do this right this second. Does that make sense?
Yeah, then we've got a couple chat box things.
I told you guys have to tell me.
No, they just popped it in. Jen, yeah, those are the best ones. Oh, okay, they say it response to you inviting them, or
Like I'll send them a message like, how are you? And so we've been having like a little back and forth. This has happened like a bunch of times recently. And I was like, oh, like you look so happy. Like, so I'm so glad you found something that like works for you, kind of thing, which makes me, it's like a compliment, but it also makes me feel like, do you know what I mean?
did you invite them prior to that comment?
Most of
Or is it
these
comment on your post?
Most of these have been people I'm just reaching out to on Facebook, either new people I'm adding, friends of friends, or people I just like haven't reached out to yet since I've started coaching. So like they're like new conversations. They don't start out like, hey, join my group. It's like, hey, like commenting on a picture or like whatever. And then it'll kind of go into that, organically. But then a lot are just like, oh yeah, I'm happy. But then it just I feel weird. Like, cause,
Usually, just personally, I respond to that with like all the reasons why it is working for me. I'll be like, yeah, it's been amazing. I can't believe what this has done for my anxiety. Like I have so much, like I don't have time for the gym. So this is absolutely perfect for me. It's usually where I find myself like spewing a few more like, this is why it works for me. Like,
And then, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
And then wrap it up with a nice, are you on a health and wellness journey as well at the end?
Or like, what are you doing?
Or what are you doing yeah, I like that.
Right. No, I feel like I have maybe
I guess like send me, you know what I mean? Like send me maybe screenshots as specific ones come up, because sometimes it's easier to like see what led into it or how they respond to like specifically, or like throw it on our team chat or whatever.
Yeah. I was going to say that a lot of times people will have these questions and then they won't post them. Like, and if you post them in the team page, like we've all probably experienced it and we can all probably jump on and help if someone's not available or something too. Don't ever feel weird about that. For the people who are listening later, don't feel weird about that. Like just post in the team page, hey, I have this person asking this question, or they're saying this, like, what do you do in this situation? Because we've all been there, or somebody has, or maybe someone else is going through the same thing you are, or they're having the same stuff come up that you are. And so maybe it's something that we can all help tweak and make work.
And then for Audrey, I always ask them like where it went wrong. So like, what was it that didn't work out? Why didn't it work out for them? That type of thing. Because a lot of times they didn't have a coach. They only had one program. They never tried the shakes. Like there's usually a way to get them back into it. I've got some people on DVDs who like are like, oh, I'm good with my DVD, and I'm still waiting for them to be like, okay, I'm sick of my DVD, or I didn't actually do it for the 8th month in a row. So those people will come around. I'd still find out like what kind of went wrong, like why they stopped doing it, or really like, this has been amazing for me. What about it didn't work for you? Like that, just to get an idea of how to respond to them after that, instead of just taking it as a shutdown.
Okay, well, one of them, she had been talking to somebody for a while before, and like right as I messaged her, she's like, I just signed up with this other coach and I'll see how things go. So she's just starting her journey right now. And another one is in Texas, and so she's a ways away, but she was starting with somebody else too. It like right at the same time that I messaged her. She's just getting started. The third one, she had done it in the past. She's like a marathon runner and very active and different. And she said that she would redo it probably under my name, but I haven't gotten to reconnect with her yet. So I have to talk to her. The first one that I was telling you about, she's having a really hard time with the shakes. She says that they're too grainy and she doesn't really like them. And my sister too is not sure about the shakes yet. But so I don't know how to get around the shake thing where people are like, oh, what do you do to make your shakes so you can drink them? And I actually like the shakes because I haven't experienced a lot of other protein shakes. I don't really know one's better than the other.
Yeah, I mean, my husband's tried all of them probably, and he said this is like one of his favorites. So I think it just depends on the person. It depends on how you make it. I mean, once other people have a coach, like if it's a friend of theirs, like usually that's my like, I'm done. Like that I do usually cut off. As long as it's a friend of theirs, I do check. Like, because if it's just some random person, like you never know if they're not going to be getting the support they need. Like I've had quite a few people switch to me as their coach because they're not getting any support from their team. But those people,
I think that she said she met this person at like one of those like, you know, like you go to a home show or like a trade show or something like that. I think that's where she met her, and she talked to her for a while first. So
yeah,
they just started a challenge, she said, so maybe she'll be okay with her stuff.
Like her coach needs to help her get through the shakes. Like that's not your, don't worry about it on your end. But we can help your sister.
Like she's one of my best friends. So I'm still going to talk to her a lot about stuff, you know, keep her motivated.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that gets rough. It's annoying. Sorry. You're like, dude.
I could have helped you.
I mean, if it's your best friend, she can always switch to you if that's what she chooses, you know, it just.
She told me she might later. She'll see how things go.
Just tell her not to sign up as a coach yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because she can hang out with that person as a customer, but then after that, if she wants to switch over to you, then you would want to. Well, I mean, she could still switch over to you as a customer, but I'm just saying if she signed up with the other person as a coach, then it's going to be a lot more complicated.
Okay.
For girl number 3 who said that they had bought DVDs in the past and it kind of felt like a shutdown, you get really excited. Oh my gosh, then you have no idea what we do now. We have all access to every single program, and it's the same price that one program used to cost people, right? Which is really cool. I think I paid $20. I think I paid like $180 or something for my one program and Shakeology and shaker cups and stuff and portion control containers. And so if you have that kind of enthusiasm, then they're going to understand and see that it's not one program anymore. It's all of them. And then also the support in the community and stuff, which they probably didn't experience the last time around, because if they had, they would have probably stuck around. So think about that the next time you're in that situation and let us know how that goes. Because I think that enthusiasm of like, well, you have no idea what you are about to find out then, because this is awesome. And you tell them, like, you get everything. And I think that moment, like that excitement helps a lot of people go like realize like, oh, okay, like this isn't what I did in the past. I mean, it is, but it's not the same, you know? So I always talk about the community and how you get everything, and that helps a lot of people wrap their brains around it being a little bit different than it used to be with just the one program. Okay. Do we have any other questions about anything we talked about, or does everybody feel a little bit more confident about no's and how to turn them to yeses? Yeah, no. Yeah? Oh, thanks, guys. Okay, so I figure if anybody does have any questions, you guys can, when I upload it into the team page, then we can go from there. I'm sure other people who aren't with us discussing this might. So I think that's one of the biggest struggles, and well, adding people and the no's and stuff, and then getting vulnerable. So if you're doing those 3 things, though, you're going to be really successful, and I believe in you no matter what. But we've got to keep the momentum alive and not get discouraged by some no's or some hesitation. Like, just be really strong in your truth. Like, you know that you feel amazing. You know that Beachbody's changed your life. You know that you aren't going anywhere because you feel amazing. So just be like, what's up? Like, I'm in your face now. Get used to it.
What are you doing?
And utilize the team page, you know? whenever you have questions or struggles or anything, we got to utilize each other a little bit more.
Yes, I love that idea. All right. I think next week we have Jen and I are going to discuss sharing our stories.
I think it might be Megan next week.
Megan,
yeah.
Okay, so Megan's going to go back over the time stuff and working and coaching and making it all work and how to have a positive attitude about adding extra stuff onto your life, but for the better, and her vision and how we can all start to see that clearly, because it's kind of the idea here. I'm really excited about these weekly calls with like everybody sharing their insight. So I think it's going to be really fun and really good. And I hope to see more of us joining together and doing this. It's going to be a lot of fun. I like this. I'm glad we took a little break and got ourselves together. I don't know what word I'm looking for there. It's not in my notes. All right, I love you guys. I hope you have a good night. And I'm sorry that we went over time here. Thank you guys for showing up, and we'll see you guys soon. Bye.
See ya.